That's a hard one. I have to admit, I did like wearing the leather pants and the heels. I mean, okay, I will tell you, and you're never gonna believe me, so this is why I'm telling you now. In the scene, it's in the trailer. I mean, like in the scene at Madness's party, I am wearing the shirt where I say it's a top and it's actually a dress, right? So I'm wearing this dress that is literally maybe 2 inches below your butt, and it's very tight, and I'm wearing heels that are maybe this high, genuinely throughout all the stunt sequences. So as much as I love that outfit, it was really difficult to act in, but I think it kind of showed her progress into this like young woman, I'm gonna kick butt kind of vibe. So I think it's like the coolest because I'm a girl and I like wearing that kind of stuff, but also I think it really showed her transformation.
We had one that was a little longer.
Yeah. Oh, we had one that was a little longer that was 1.5 inches longer. For some of the stunts, because we're crawling on the floor, we're doing a lot of inappropriate things that probably wouldn't be the best for a really short dress.
Or like vibrating back there.
Cassie, about Simon, so I wanted to know, why did you choose to make him Jewish?
What? Okay. I'm Jewish. And I think it was because I'd never seen anybody write a Jewish vampire, and I was feeling that, happy pays off, by the way. I was feeling that us Red Sea pedestrians were being left out of a big cultural movement. I was like, well, there's all this Christian iconography that comes with vampirism, the crucifixes and the holy water. And so I started thinking, well, what if you were of a different faith? What if you were a Jewish vampire? Like, that stuff's not going to necessarily affect you, so what would affect you? And how would that, interact with the faith that you have? And so it was really interesting for me to kind of explore. I'm a bad lapsed Jew. I don't remember Hebrew school at all, but it's kind of good for me to kind of go back and relearn a lot of stuff about my religion and kind of channel that through Simon. He's really one of the few characters in the book who actually has a strong faith, and I thought that was a really fun character to write.
Difficult part about working on the movie. Wow, most difficult part. I think genuinely, apart from all the training that we had every day, long hours, and we would work out every morning, if not 4:30, 5 in the morning before set, that was grueling. I think, though, the hardest part about this whole thing is, like I said before, because I was like you guys and a fan before I started as the actress Clary, I think every day I was just praying that I was going to make everyone happy. Like, of course, I had my own ideas of who Clary should be, and at the end of the day, as an actor taking on a role like this, you have to kind of separate yourself from expectation, but I love her so much as a fan that I wanted her to be portrayed in the best way possible, and I just every day was like, please, I hope they like me, and it's just that it's wanting to do a character justice that deserves it, and I think keeping that in mind was the hardest thing.
We do like you. Yeah.
Thank you. I love you.
This is like a movie. Yeah, but this is like the first time I've seen Lily not covered in bruises from all the stunts.
Long jeans and long shirts.
It was all the stunts, so I was very impressed. I remember.
Okay. Were there any scenes that were kind of favorites that were cut from the movie, or any that were added or anything?
Only Harold knows what's in the movie.
I'm too nervous to answer that question.
Yeah, it's not being edited, so it's a work in progress. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
It's Cassie seeing the movie for the first time next week.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so and we're open to suggestions, obviously. And so, a movie is much shorter than the book. If we had filmed exactly what the book was, it would be way too long. So we did some, I don't know.
There's, I haven't seen it. You have to compress, and then there's a lot that you can do with sort of visual language, like something that takes 2 or 3 pages in a book to say the Institute looked like this, it was this big, it was this old, it had this, kind of gate is just 1 second in a film of like fiction of like visual shorthand. So it's a different language film. So I'm really excited to see the movie and to see kind of how the book translates into that different language.
We've been trying to keep close. I mean, Cassie's been fantastic in the development of the movie, and we hope we've kept most of the stuff that you love. So hopefully.
If aliens land at the end, I'll tell you all.
Were to ever meet, and like would Will be attracted to Clary in any way? Because I mean that's weird. Because that's but like, do you think that there would be any like, I don't know, attraction there, or how would James?
I'm speechless, like actually speechless. Okay, well, Will and Jace are both Herondales, and I mean they're attracted to feisty, intelligent ladies. So I guess if Will had never, if there was no Tessa and Will was available and he met Clary and there was no Jace who would instantly kill him if he tried anything, then sure, they'd probably go out for a couple of dates and see how that went. I don't know if it would last forever, but it'd be a great weekend.
Favorite character and a favorite book.
Of mine? Oh, I can't. It's like choosing a favorite child,
No, people do it.
Yeah, I know everyone always says that. I mean, I'm an only child, and I'm like, they do? Oh, that's really scary. Usually my favorite book is the one that I'm working on right now. So right now it's City of Heavenly Fire because that's what I'm working on. Before that, it was Clockwork Princess. So it just depends where I am in the process. And I don't have a favorite character, but I would say that Simon and Tessa are the most like me, and Magnus is the most fun to write.
Well, we love them all.
Yay.
All right, this group.
Hi, Lily. Miss Newsome from SMT says hi. We go to your school. Oh, hey! Oh my gosh, you just said my love. And I was wondering, what is your favorite books out of the Mortal Instruments?
Again, I think I'm going to have to go kind of with what Cassie said. For me, the first film and the first film, as if there's already going to be a second one. So let's go see the movie and make there be a second one. The first book, I think, for me, it's great to see Clary at the beginning and to see how she matures and how she ages and how she really fights for herself and grows into this young woman, even by the end of the book. And then, obviously, she goes off and has this complete growth and adventure in the whole series. But I think in the first one, you get to see that first inkling of what she's capable of. And it's that first time that she meets all the characters, and it's that first introduction as an audience into this magical world that Cassandra's created. And that's kind of that jaw-dropping moment when you first see past a glimmer, or when you first meet Jace, and you are like Clary when you're like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? And I think it's that first entrance into the world that always like captures you. And so from then on, obviously it takes you on highs and lows, and it's exciting, but I think the first one is always the most special to me, so I'd have to say this one. And please send my love to her.
To see your book and then turn into a movie, like how was that experience watching the process and these characters come to like flesh and life?
It was amazing. I mean, it's a long process of like casting and getting the screenplay and all of that work, and it was interesting. It was very collaborative. I worked with the producers, and I talked with Harold, and we talked with Lily, and we talked with the other actors, throughout the whole casting process to kind of get like a team of actors who would really gel together. And that was really kind of cool insight to get into the process and how it works. But there's nothing like going on the set and actually seeing the way that Harold had the sets built. Each one was incredibly detailed, and it was rendered, down to the last little thing. I went into, the library set, and there was all these books, and they've been hand illustrated, and there's the gray book, and each page has a rune, and it's been hand drawn. And I was super happy. I remember Harold wandered onto the library, and when I was there, and I was so happy, I ran up and hugged him, and he's like, "You're in a good mood." And I was like, this is so exciting, you have no idea. It was just like, you're sort of transported into the places that you've only imagined. And so there's really nothing like it.
We're going to get a male perspective. This guy's all the way in the middle, so just pass the mic back when you get a chance.
One of your funny moments you had during filming.
Oh my gosh. Well, what about the water? Okay. Yeah, this was pretty funny. You probably wouldn't even be able to tell it in the movie. Okay, so there's a scene when Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, who plays Valentine, is
In the movie, when you see it.
in the movie when you see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was going to say water thing, not this one.
Oh.
Okay.
Both? No,
Whatever you Okay, got it. Okay, sorry. Spoiler alert. It's worth it. You'll see it. Right. So there's a scene when I have the cup and I'm threatening to put it in the portal or not, and he comes over and you can't hear me? Is this better? Have you not heard anything I've said this whole time? Someone need to press replay? Okay. I'm sure enough of you are tweeting this anyway. You can go home and watch it. Okay, so anyway, I have the cup and I'm putting it through the portal and I'm threatening to drop it or not, and he puts his hand in to try to find it. And he insisted on physically having a water bucket to like plunge his hand into to feel the water. He wanted to feel the water. And in his close-up, in which you can't really see anything around him anyway, it's just his eyes, he still wanted to do the bucket of water. And I wasn't expecting it, and neither was the man standing there with the bucket like this. Literally, he's standing like this with water, the prop guy. And Jonathan gets so into it because he's an amazing actor, he's so intense. And he just puts it in. And I kid you not, I was drenching by the end of the shot. The poor guy holding it was drenching, and we weren't even on camera. Like, it was just for the feel of it. So they yell cut, and Jonathan had no idea, and he looks at us. I'm just standing there crying with laughter. But I didn't want to ruin his take, so I had to pretend I was crying. Like, I had to pretend that it was, like, so scary that I was, like, crying, and the props guy, he just closed his eyes. Like, he couldn't deal with it. So, it was moments like that you won't even really see in the movie, but just know that behind the scenes we were laughing. What?
Okay.
Oh yeah, and one more. The prop guy, bless him, he was the best. He had to deal with so much stuff. You know how I take the cup out of the card? Well, we actually had we'll see with special effects and stuff. We had a big card that was cut out, and every time I had to go in to grab it was like a really intense moment, and I was either crying or like frustrated or flustered. And every time I'd go to put my hand in, there's the prop guy like. He would be like this horrible grin on his face, holding this cup, and every single time I'm like so intense, and you'll see in the movie, it's so crying, and I just go to reach it, and he's just there like, and I was like, how can you do that to me? So every single time, that was life on set.
All right, I'm going to give this one to the jumping girl because you've been jumping.
Yeah,
I don't want you to pass out.
I have a question for Miss Clare. If Jem were to have a child, would his disease due to the infant be hereditary?
What? I'm sorry, wait, what was that question?
If Jem had a kid, would they have the disease?
No, Jem has a drug addiction. They're not really hereditary. So if he had a kid, the kid would be fine. You know, but he's a Victorian guy, so he doesn't really like sleep around much. So the likelihood is low, but it would be fine. It would be fine. That's not what I thought you asked, but that's.
We have time for 4 questions, so make them really.
Cassie, I wanted to ask the director, Harold, what drew you to the film process for The Mortal Instruments, and do you have a favorite scene that you've done?
I think the books are awesome. I think the idea of being given the opportunity to put a book like that into a movie is just a dream come true. So I especially like what we talked about earlier, that it was a very realistic story and that it feels like it is happening right now. Lily was already on when I was approached, and I thought the idea of her playing it was fantastic. And I like that whole idea of a really strong female lead character who just doesn't trust and just goes by her own instinct. I thought it was great. And these women are awesome.
Oh, do you have a favorite scene?
Oh, favorite scene. I was trying to skip that.
He doesn't want to commit.
I think one of the moments that she just mentioned, the first time she discovers she has that ability to, that is a really magical scene. And we try to do everything very, not so special effecty. I mean, like she said, there was a prop guy actually holding the cup to her. And that, I think, except for the prop guy, it helped Lily to get into the scene a lot. And I think that's one of the more magical. I mean, they're all, I love them all. Sorry, I don't have one. I think the whole movie is great.
This one's for Cassie. You mentioned so much good literature in the book. I was just wondering, what are your top 3 favorites, you can never choose just one, of the classic literature?
Okay, so Great Expectations, Pride and Prejudice, and then it's a toss-up between Lord of the Rings and Tale of Two Cities.
All right, this might be the last one, so make it good, no pressure.
I was talking with one of my friends who used to write fan fiction with you. Danielle Cohen.
Okay.
Harry Potter.
Like, most people who write fan fiction have, like, strange made-up names online.
I don't know
like,
her pen name.
You know?
But I was wondering if you actually kept up with any of the Mortal Instruments fan fiction, and if you draw any inspiration from the people writing that.
I generally don't read fan fiction of Mortal Instruments or Infernal Devices. We're sort of discouraged from doing that. For complicated legal reasons. They tell you not to read fan fiction of your own work, but I have a deal with my friends where I read fan fiction of their work, and they read fan fiction of my work. So we can sort of vaguely report stuff, and I sent my friend Holly out into the wilderness of the fan fiction of the Mortal Instruments, and I was like, just like, what's the most popular pairing? I'm curious, like, what are people doing? You know, I was sort of figured it would be mostly like Jason Clary stuff, you know, and then, you know, Alec and Magnus maybe? Yeah, but no, she comes back and she's like, it's all Alec and Isabel, and I was like, oh, that's so weird! I'm really upset now! I don't really know anything else! So, yeah, sometimes you're punished for your curiosity. Alright, I feel like since we have Lily and Harold here, maybe we have time for one more movie question, because I've had a very unique opportunity to have them.
Can I ask 2 questions? Okay, is City of Bones, does it have some of City of Ashes in the movie?
Does City of Bones have any of... She's asking if, like, City of Bones and City of Ashes were, like, kind of mashed up together or anything like that, because they do that sometimes. No. Yeah, I mean, there's some hints kind of in City of Bones, if I remember talking to Robert about this, of like, what will come later, but... Oh, yeah, Harold and Robert, who's the producer, and I were really fascinated by the runes. We spent a lot of time talking about the runes. So there is a rune, there are a couple of runes that you don't, like, learn about until City of Ashes that do appear in City of Bones. They snuck themselves in when none of us were looking.
Okay, and why is Tessa in the Coit's Hall in City of Glass?
Oh, why does Tessa show up in City of Glass?
Yes.
She's mortal, and, you know, there's a big party, and she wants to go to it. I know, I can't really tell you, but you'll find out, but she basically is there to talk to Magnus. So...